Hello and welcome. This is Japan, and we have another exciting evolve here. Honestly, without too much of a spoiler, just to start off this review, this was a pretty solid episode and may contain a really fun match, at least for me. So we're just gonna jump into it. We got right off the bat. It like literally just started the show. It was Ice Williams versus Super Sean Legacy. This is a weird match to me because like Ice Williams, I think it's technically already been released from the ID program. I doesn't necessarily know if that means that he won't show up on Evolve anymore. It'll be interesting to tell because he's also in Reality of Wrestling. So like, does that like just put him off of the ID program or like I don't know. It's a weird thing with this ID program to a certain extent because we haven't seen anybody get taken out yet. There was two prospects that like the program got removed, maybe three I think. So I don't really know exactly how that translates to their whole thing, but this match actually was pretty solid. I did like a lot of Ice Williams' offense. I put his wrestling probably in a solid B, and I like Super Sean Legacy. I thought he did pretty good. I'd probably put him in an A. I would be comfortable to put this match in an A slot. Honestly, this would have been a good feud going back and forth because like Ice Williams obviously lost this match, but he would have had enough momentum to be like this is a fluke deal and maybe could have got another match against Super Sean Legacy, and I wouldn't mind seeing a double dip of this match, like or like some type of different thing to it because technically this was felt like a bigger storyline that they were probably going to do a little bit longer, but I think all of that got changed by either him being released, also just they had right after the match Super Sean Legacy and Nidris Inoue kind of squared off. I didn't know if I liked this part of the segment. I didn't mind that he came down there, but it just kind of felt like weird and forced. Like I feel like one, anytime you have a interview with a wrestler after they just had a match, like they're gassed. They're not gonna have great talking ability. And they do that with Chuy Martinez. It just seems to not have like those questions to really help him like with him. He just kind of leaves a like softball question up and then it's like, well, he makes the wrestler work the entire time, and it just doesn't work when it's like on the ringside. I don't know what it is. I really do feel like me personally, they need like a heel like announcer or like somebody who's just more of like going directly with questions about like the card hitting questions. Like I don't know, it feels like they definitely need that in this type of show to make it a little bit smoother. But this feud, I feel like it's a decent match. I think we won't probably see it for like maybe what 2 3 episodes because that's kind of how that goes. I'm good with it. I feel Sean Legacy should still be racking up some of these wins because he's been a phenomenal wrestler and he's like a top 5 in the men's division easily right now. So I would probably put this into a B. Happy to see what happened, but the segment itself wasn't that great. Then we got told at PM, is it Prime? Yeah, Prime Minister, I guess is what it is. Stevie Turner is going to select a number one contender for Jackson Drake's title. It was going to be towards the end of the show. Ended up being the end of the show. I thought it was kind of cool that they kind of had like a different approach to just like having a number one contenders match, that they were going to actually put somebody like in there that they thought was a good choice. So I kind of liked what they were doing with that. It kind of added a little bit of drama through the show because we didn't know who exactly it was going to be until the very end. Then we had, I thought was kind of a weird match because it was Kylie Ray versus Mason Holiday. I really thought Chantel Monroe would be the fight because it was like Callie Armstrong or not Callie Armstrong, Callie Ray. I probably said her name wrong in the first part of that. Um, she like cost Monroe in the title match, so why would she be going after Mason Holiday? I know it was more of like a friendly bout because she beat her, and then like they had the handshake and stuff. I honestly didn't mind this match. I do feel like with at least Mason Holiday's thing is I feel like she's like very competent in the ring, but she doesn't have like a vibe yet to like even tell her what type of wrestler she is. She's just kind of like she goes out there, she has some decent fundamentals and she's working on something, but I think she's still kind of like a longer way to go than some of the other wrestlers. Not that she doesn't have a good base because the match was still pretty good. I would put it in a B. I thought it was a pretty good match with everything saying there, and I think the story that they told it with like Callie Ray like handshaking her at the end, I think really worked. I don't know why it's like it feels so flustering on this episode for whatever reason for me. But next up, we had the tag team title, or not tag, a tag match. It was Adrenaline Jip versus the two newcomers. Honestly, this might be my favorite match so far in Evolve. And before it was the six man from the starting episode that also had Jack Cartwheel and Cappuccino Jones in it. And this one just was great. I mean, you had the two big guys that could just throw around these guys like rag dolls, and there was just so much to like on it when he threw Cappuccino Jones back at Jack Cartwheel to like knock him out back into the ring. That was great, and there was just so much with that powerlifting ability. That was it was just great. The only things I would say, there's two parts of this match that I really didn't like. One, the random It Skull and Jamar Hampton promo in the middle of the match, because one, it threw you off on the entire match because like they were talking about adrenaline drip, so you kind of assume that they were gonna lose that match because it was like, oh, we got to show them that they're not actually doing anything. It's like, well, if they would have won that match, then it would have made no sense for them to have a feud. And if they lose that match, that would be the only thing. So, kind of felt like almost like a spoiler. I felt they should have had that segment before the match. So that part was really bad, and I really do think, having Jack Carwell lose here was kind of the bad case. I know they weren't gonna have the pin for Cappuccino Jones because he's the ID champion, but like, I don't think that team should have lost. That was the legitimate tag team versus two guys that don't even have a tag team name. Kind of felt like that was kind of the bad call, especially because they won clean. It was like 100% a clean win, which again, this is, I think, my favorite match in Evolve. So I can't really take away from it. I'm putting it up in S tier for sure. It was a fun match to behold. Like every part about it was good. So I just felt like the ending and that random promo, but the promo I'm not going to take away from the match, and the ending with the whoever wins. Sometimes that could ruin a match, but we're here along for the ride to see what happens. So I'm glad to, well, I guess we'll see what's next. Next up, we had the statement for what was going to be the number one contendership, or who was going to basically be Jackson Drake's next opponent. And then Vanity Project went down, and obviously Kiana Carver came down, and Brooks Jensen came down. So it was a full ring. They basically, Bryce Donovan was talking a little bit of smack, and kind of had that thing where he's like, he could take on both of these guys type of thing, and ended up making it a triple threat. I think that's the perfect thing, because I do think Jackson Drake would retain, and even if he doesn't retain, I think if the best bet would having Kiana Carver beat Brooks Jensen. I know they had the whole thing like Ridge Holland also came down, and then Tate Wilder took him out. I was gonna add that, but again, I really like this episode, and if I had that, I would have to put a D segment in here, because that is a storyline and wrestlers that I could not care about, and it's nothing against them. I guess to a certain extent it is, but like, it's just not working for me right now, and that storyline needs to have a pulled plug, and they need to figure out what to do next. But this part of this segment, it was a little messy, a lot of random stuff. I didn't particularly like it. I like the idea of the match, but I didn't like the segment. Obviously, everything evolved after that, and everybody was attacking everybody. I thought that was at least a cool way to end the show. It was a nice way to sign it off. I put this segment of them talking about it into B, and then they triple threat, I'm going to put up in S tier, because I think that's going to be a cool way to possibly get a new champion. And if not a new champion, it will be a good signature match for Jackson Drake to win, because a triple threat's always kind of a, crazier one, because you don't have to be factored in the decision. So if you can defend against two guys, that definitely makes it a little bit more of a feather in your cap. So overall, I'll put the show into an A. This was probably one of my favorite episodes altogether. That tag match would probably be my favorite match so far. It was really good. So if you haven't watched any Evolve matches and you want to start, that's definitely a good one to start on, because it kind of has everything what the Evolve program is going to be. Young guys doing their best, doing a lot of crazy stuff, and I liked it. I really did like that match. So Yeah, if you guys enjoy these videos, we do them weekly. My schedule's been a little weird this week. I've been a little bit behind in my videos, so there was no Raw or NXT review, but they'll be back next week, and I'll have more stuff. And I'm gonna try to do some extra smaller videos in between to kind of compensate for that. I just had a little bit of hard time scheduling in the beginning of the week to get stuff done, but we'll get back on track. So until next time, this has been Japan. Bye, guys.